We were making our way back to town after a quest that took ages. God, I couldn't wait to kick up my feet for a while. Everything was fine until one night when we were sleeping at camp. I just kept hearing her voice.
Hello?
My missing sister's voice. The others thought I was crazy, hearing things. But I knew it was her.
I'm here.
The voice was so clear, so familiar. And she was calling for me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think of anything else. After days of hearing her, I made up my mind. I had to find her. My friends put up a fight, but eventually me and another member of my group went on our way. After a little walking, her voice started getting closer. Then I saw her inside a hallway in the building.
Hey!
Beaten and bruised, the poor thing. My friend and I rushed to her side immediately as she weakly smiled at me. I could barely hold in the tears as I examined her. Then I looked over and noticed my friend was nowhere to be found. Was that wall always there? As I held my sister in my arms, her smile became wrong. Then as the floor started moving, I remembered something that hit me like a knife to the gut. I never had a sister.
Hello, hello, and hello. I'm S.O.C.K, aka the undisputed, undefeated pound-for-pound Wii Sports boxing champion, and I'm back for the second episode of Dude Brew. So for this Dude Brew, I'm going to be doing my first monster or creature showcase for this channel, and I'm super hyped to do it. It's for a 5e homebrew monster I made called the Hall Monitor. So the video is going to start with the general description and everything covering it and stuff like that. There is also just going to be the document and stat block for the creature in the link below or in the description below. So go ahead and check that out. But if you're interested in just the combat sections of this video or how you can use it in your campaign, I will have those timestamped in the video and everything for like relevant information and stuff. But getting into it, the Hall Monitor is its true form, kind of like picture a school bus sized mass of writhing flesh, but instead of like a chaotic sort of formlessness, you almost get a sort of like tingling sensation in your mind as if it's probing you for information, trying to find your weaknesses and everything, like probing the weakest parts of your mind that you hide from everything else. That is this creature. So the Hall Monitor is a predatory psychic mass of flesh that is my favorite monster category, which are aberrations, because I'm a Lovecraft fanboy. But yeah, they're formless masses of eldritch flesh, psychic eldritch flesh that disguise themselves as regular hallways, and they do this by forming a coating over their skin and fusing with the hallway. And this coating mimics the appearance of the hallway surrounding it and everything. So when it's not moving, you don't notice it's not a regular hallway, except for maybe a particularly perceptive or suspicious individual might look closely and notice that the floor and the walls and everything in this hallway is kind of shifting and moving slightly and stuff. But the real kind of draw for this creature and their main thing doing the heavy lifting is their psychic abilities. So Hall Monitors lure victims into their space, into their hallway by using their psychic abilities to project illusions and images and voices of basically whatever would be effective against certain prey. So let's say there's a paladin where their goal is to save children and save innocents from evil and stuff like that. It might give them a sort of feeling, as far as the players and everything, they're on a quest to find some sort of artifact. It would give them this feeling that, they'll find their answer as long as they get closer and everything, and kind of mimic, kind of like in the description of the encounter with it, this voice starts getting quote unquote louder and everything, but really it's just luring you closer and everything, trying to get you to get close to it. So this creature is definitely a ultimate ambush type creature, and you'll see what I'm talking about, and I'll kind of explain there, just not to wrap up too much. But once a creature has been lured inside of the Hall Monitor space, inside of its fake hallway, they'll notice the actual environment seemingly begin to shift and move around them, like walls forming out of flesh and then gradually forming that same coating over them to trap them inside. So after which, at that point, they are usually trapped and then ripped apart by the Hall Monitor, where it eventually digests them. The hall monitor, like I said before, has psychic, like telepathic abilities and everything. Lets them read the thoughts and emotions of creatures within a fair distance away from it. And like I said, they use this to manipulate their illusions to the target specifically. So usually when someone is lured by a hall monitor, it'll usually project an illusionary image to try to get them, further incentivize them to enter that hallway and stuff like that. So this creature definitely is going to be something that should not immediately tip off the party that something's wrong unless you have just your paranoid sort of players and everything. But the whole point for this is that the hall monitor would show something that the player or the victim would be susceptible to and stuff like that. So it definitely is up to the DM on how they would do this, and their intelligence is also kind of a thing that plays into this and that sort of stuff. So why these entities and why hall monitors decide to pick hallways for their territories and stuff like that has yet to be explained, but that's up to you as a DM if you want to ever explain that. But yeah, moving into its actual combat abilities and the mechanics and stuff, the hall monitor is a gargantuan, and I put a little parentheses for size varies. This is because it specifically is taking up a hallway, so if you want to use this for example, a smaller dungeon and everything, you might not have the hallway be a full, because gargantuan is 30 feet by 30 feet, which is the standard size for this creature. But I don't think it's far-fetched to say that it could shrink itself to fit whatever hallway would fit for you and everything. It doesn't really change the actual beefiness of the stat block and everything. It kind of just changes the space that it affects. But yeah, they are gargantuan aberrations, chaotic evil. And their armor class is 15. They have 85 hit points, with their roll being 10d12 plus 20 for their HP. They have 15-foot movement speed. So like I said, this is an ambush predator, so most of the time when the fight is going to happen, or when it initiates a fight, it's going to be when a creature has entered their space. It has, for its ability scores, I'll list these off real quick. It has a 16 in strength, a 14 in dexterity and constitution, an 18 an 18 in intelligence, a 12 in wisdom, and then a 14 in charisma. It doesn't really have any saving throws other than intelligence, but its intelligence saving throw is a +6. As far as its skills go, it has proficiency in stealth, athletics, and expertise in insight. It doesn't have any notable damage, vulnerabilities, resistances, or immunities, but it has condition immunities to the charmed condition, the frightened condition, prone, grappled, restrained, blinded, and deafened. And for its senses, it has blind sight of 120 feet, which doesn't really matter mostly, but you'll see what I'm talking about with this. But it is visually blind beyond this 120 feet range, and it has a passive perception of 11. But the reason why the sight isn't really an issue is because it has a telepathy of 5 miles. So this is a CR4 creature. And moving into its traits, its first trait is the creature sense trait, which is inspired by the Elder Brain's feature. So essentially the hall monitor is aware of creatures within 5 miles of it that have an intelligence score of 4 or higher. It knows the distance and direction to each creature as well as each one's intelligence score, but can't sense anything else about it. A creature protected by the Mind Blink spell, a non-detection spell, or similar magic can't be perceived in this manner. So this is what I meant before of how this creature is going to know when the party is in the area, usually long before the party knows it's in the area, unless they've been tipped off somehow. But at which case the hall monitor would usually have changed its location by then. Next up is the false appearance trait. So this is kind of standard for a lot of disguising objects sort of creatures. While the hall monitor remains motionless, it resembles an ordinary hallway, making it indistinguishable from its surroundings. Its next trait is the amorphous trait. The hall monitor can move through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide without squeezing. It can also occupy the space of a huge or smaller creature. Like I said, its size category can vary, so you can really just change that to... I don't think it would be able to, occupy the space of a Tarrasque, so I do think huge would be the cap, but that's really up to you. Next up is the artificial coating trait. So the hall monitor has a damage threshold of 5 against all damage types except psychic. This threshold remains in effect until the hall monitor is reduced to half its maximum hit points. At that point, its protective outer layer breaks down, exposing its soft inner flesh. So this is meant to simulate it forming this artificial coating over itself that matches the architecture of the hallway, and this offers it a damage threshold. And this is a little bit different from damage reduction. Damage threshold means that you have to deal 5 damage. Unless you're dealing psychic damage, you have to deal 5 damage, or else it takes no damage at all. So this is also kind of aided by the fact that, like, once it's dropped to half HP and everything, then it loses that, so it's a little bit easier to damage it. For its next trait is called Haunting Whispers, and this is honestly my favorite feature or favorite trait I made for this creature. Creatures that enter within 5 miles of the hall monitor that have an intelligence score of 4 or higher must make a DC 14 intelligence saving throw. On a failed saving throw, unsettling whispers fill the minds of affected creatures, and they cannot gain the benefits of arrest for the next 24 hours while within 5 miles of the hall monitor. On a successful saving throw, the creature does not need to remake the saving throw for the next 24 hours. So it is balanced by the fact it is a CR4 creature and everything. You could bump it up, but this is a particularly strong one for your campaign. But essentially, this is the hall monitor trying to invade creatures' minds nearby with just whatever thoughts necessary to just exhaust the creature. So this is especially for like a dungeon crawl sort of scenario and everything, where you're just trying to rest in between floors and stuff like that. You really could have the thing of like, you can't sleep because you just keep getting these thoughts and stuff like that. And next up for its last trait is its psionic casting. So the hall monitor is a 5th level spellcaster. Its spellcasting ability is intelligence. It has a spell save DC of 14 and a +6 to hit with spell attacks. It requires no components to cast its spells, as it is a psychic mass of flesh, and it's using the power of its mind for stuff. So the spells that it has at will are the detect thought spell and the minor illusion spell, which it's going to be using very frequently. Next up, it can cast Charm Person 3 times a day, Phantasmal Force 3 times a day, and Tasha's Mind Whip 3 times a day. And it can cast Dominate Person once per day. It can cast the Confusion spell once per day, the Slow spell once per day, and then the Wall of Force spell once per day. So this is all to simulate it being a controller type of enemy and everything, as it's going to be trying to isolate, powerful targets and everything. Like I said, this is a very intelligent creature, and we'll get into that when we're talking about the plot hooks. But this isn't a creature that's going to just, lure, like a party of like 2 barbarians and like a whole bunch of other people and just say, yeah, I'm just going to let you guys, gang up on me and that sort of stuff. It's going to be trying to, if not enthrall and then eat, maybe even turn people against each other to weaken them. But a lot of things relating to like control and stuff like that. Next up is its actions. So the hall monitor has the multi-attack trait with its tendril attack. So its tendril attack has a +5 to hit, it has a reach of 20 feet, and it has 2 options for a hit. Shout out to DM Dungeon Mastery. He's a D&D YouTuber that does a lot of really cool reworks of monsters. He was kind of doing this sort of stuff before the 2024 5e edition came out with a sort of feature of giving like, multiple options for like, a single weapon attack. I might be mistaken on that, but I at least saw that he was like the first person that did that sort of thing. So I would definitely want to give a shout out for that. But for its 2 options, it has the skewer option, which can target up to 3 creatures. On a hit, it does 1d8 plus 3 piercing damage, and on a hit, larger, smaller sized creatures are restrained with an escape DC of 14. A restrained creature can make a strength saving throw to escape at the end of their turns. So this is just to stab into a creature like his leg or something like that and try to immobilize it and stuff like that. And when it says larger, smaller sized creatures, that means large sized creatures all the way down to tiny sized creatures, so the smallest category. But for its second option, it has the batter option. So this is just a 1 target attack, but does more damage. It has 2d8 plus 3 bludgeoning damage, and on a hit, a larger, smaller sized creature must make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone. If the attack roll hits, the hall monitor can attempt to target another creature within 5 feet of the original target with the same attack roll. So let's say it, uses the batter option and hits, with a attack roll of 22. If there is a rogue within 5 feet of that creature, it can use that 22 to target that rogue as well to see if it hits. For its next action, it has the pulsating ground ability, which is a recharge of 4 through 6. So with pulsating ground, the hall monitor violently shakes and shifts its body mass, causing creatures in its space to lose their footing. All creatures within the hall monitor space must make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone, move 10 feet in a direction of the hall monitor's choice, and also lose their reaction until the start of their next turn. So this is just to kind of simulate and everything. It kind of looks like the floor is moving like water and everything, and it's sending people flying and stuff like that. And next up is the Flesh Crafted Wall ability, which is a recharge of 5 through 6. So the hall monitor grows a pulsating wall of flesh in its space that gradually forms the coating matching the rest of the hallway. This wall is 15 feet high and 20 feet wide. It has an AC of 15, 20 hit points, and has the same damage threshold that the hall monitor does as per the artificial coating trait, provided that the hall monitor is currently benefiting from it. So this is going to be its main ability to separate creatures and everything. It is psychic and can read thoughts and everything, so especially if it's using detect thoughts as well, it's going to know which of the party members or like victims is like a healer and everything. It's going to know whether how many people in the party can heal and that sort of stuff, because that's going through the creature's mind and stuff like that. I doubt a healer can say, oh yeah, I'm not thinking of healing them, but I'm going to heal them, that sort of thing. So it is going to be trying to isolate certain characters, and this wall ability is going to be the main thing. And to clarify, the wall benefits from that artificial coating damage threshold, but if it's currently deactivated, then the wall doesn't activate with it if it's activated during that time span. So next up are its bonus actions. So it only has one bonus action, but this one is a particularly nasty one. Like, this is going to be the one that's going to really threaten a lot of players. So its bonus action is called Bile Pit. So the hall monitor slowly creates holes in its body underneath creatures in its space, revealing a corrosive bile within its body. All grappled, restrained, or prone creatures within the hall monitor space must make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw. On a successful saving throw, the creature suffers no effects. On a failed saving throw, the affected creature or creatures fall into the pits of bile, taking 2d4 acid damage and becoming blinded, restrained, and deafened. Creatures trapped within the pit begin drowning and must make a Constitution saving throw at the beginning of their turns or take 2d4 acid damage. A trapped creature can use their action to make a DC 14 athletics or acrobatics check to escape the pit. Another creature within 5 feet of the pit can use their action to make an athletics check to pull the trapped creature out of the pit, and the hall monitor can only have up to 3 creatures trapped within itself at one time. So this is just to add some synergy with a lot of its other attacks of like restraining and grappling or trying to like knock creatures prone and everything. It's not going to just try to brute force its way into like killing things unless it's like obviously way stronger. It's mostly going to be trying to like really get you off balance and then just pull you into its body to digest you with its corrosive bile and everything. Definitely going to be stressful for a lot of like not dexterity oriented characters and everything, like mainly your casters. Is going to be like pretty rough for them and stuff like that with the dexterity and constitution saving throws, especially with the fact that you have to use athletics or acrobatics to try to get out and everything. Like I imagine it's kind of like that sort of thing where like they get pulled into it and stuff like that slowly by like the tendrils and stuff like that, and then like the corrosive bile pit starts like closing in around them, like like not, I mean, they are suffocating, but kind of like crushing them like with this like fleshy mass of its body while they're being like basically burned alive or like melted alive by the acid. So definitely a really nasty ability. But yeah, moving into the plot hooks for this creature and how you can use it in your campaign. I kind of just have on screen right here, this is at the bottom of the document, the quote unquote true form of the hall monitor. Truthfully, you can use whatever token you want to use for the actual map, but this is just what I would use for the purposes of like once they actually realize it's a hall monitor. I'll probably just put this down for simplicity's sake. But that's just if you're using like a digital version and everything. But most of the time, the actual like creature is just going to be the hallway they're fighting in, so you can really just use that part of the map and just have the stat block off to the side. But yeah, I mean, that's also unless the hall monitor for some reason decides to try to run away. But besides the point, the plot hooks for how you can use this creature, I mean, right off the top of my head, I'm thinking that like this is an intelligent creature, so while it is predatory, it can more than see reason. That is 18 intelligence, so it is nearly on a transcendental level of intelligence. So it's easily at genius level human intellect. I would imagine that this creature can be reasoned with, at least in the sense of, I think this creature would work really well if you were going to like an aberration, like inspired, like Underdark or like any Eldritch inspired sort of area. This would be an amazing like sentry or like, I guess like Watchmen, as the creature is going to know when intelligent creatures are within the area and everything. It can alert whoever, they have to deal with. So maybe it could also be like a group of bandits, like the bandits in exchange for providing, food and like creatures to the hall monitor and everything, consistent source of food more than what it would usually get by itself. It would be more than happy to alert those bandits of when creatures are within the area, or let whatever sort of master at like that aberration sort of thing I was talking about know when creatures are within the area. So I think it works really well as like a scout or something like that. But even besides that point, if you want to do like a monster of the week, or like like kind of like just like a one-off monster sort of thing, you could always have there be some sort of like really like a small town that knows about like a small like haunted house, like a folk tale sort of thing, like, oh, this house is haunted, don't go there. But maybe like it's a sort of thing like a hospital recently had to close down, and then like there's people that report seeing their loved ones within the hallways of this abandoned hospital, but whoever goes within there never comes back. So maybe like the party is hired to go investigate, and they think that it's some sort of like predatory creature, and they would be right about that, but maybe not in the way that they think. So there's really a lot of potential you could use this creature for, but those are the first couple of things that I think off the top of my head. If you have any interesting ideas for how this creature could be used, I kind of tried to make it so it could really be used in different settings aside from just like your classic eldritch sort of thing. But it definitely is a horror type creature. So if you guys really enjoy this, definitely leave a like, comment, and subscribe and everything, and let me know if you ever end up using this creature. Yeah, definitely let me know. And yeah, peace out.